Brad, can we just address the outside noise at the moment regarding the coaching position there? Can you just say anything this morning that clarifies the current situation?
Oh, I'm the coach at the moment. What's the coaching noise? I'm not up to date with all the media. What's the coaching noise?
The coaching noise that there's been a suggestion that Steve McNamara might be in the role for next year. You've had
Oh,
the Perth interview, etc., etc.
I don't know. You have to like that's more for Bleasy, but I haven't at this stage made a decision, mate, on what I'm doing. So unless you're trying to replace me, I don't know. I haven't made a decision. Like I said all the way through, like I don't want to keep going on about it. I've got two boys at home that I'm desperate to get home to at some stage, but there's been no pressure for me to make a decision at the moment.
Have you spoken to Perth?
At some stage, yeah.
And are you edging closer to making that decision?
Of whether I stay here or not.
Hmm.
No, no. Like I said, mate, I'm just worried about every game as it comes week to week, and there's no pressure from the club for me to make any decisions at the moment.
So any suggestion that someone else has been offered the role for next year, as you understand it, are wide of the mark?
Yeah, not that I know of. Yeah. Well, I haven't said I'm not here next year.
We'll keep waiting then. We'll keep waiting.
Yeah.
What's the team news ahead of Saturday?
No, the team's as it was named, as yeah, same sort of team as last week. We didn't name anyone different, did we?
Well, I just wondered whether you might make any changes at all. Are you going to go with the same 17?
Yeah, yep.
How much is that a bonus just in terms of continuity at the moment?
No, it's good. I've always said all the way through that it's good to have a healthy list. It's good to have competition for spots because like it's then it becomes about actions and not so much words. And like all these guys are desperate to play each week, and we've been fortunate enough they can do some different things with game times and minutes and starting different blokes. Just different combinations, and the boys have embraced that and taken that on, and they know some weeks that some more guys might get a bit more minutes than someone else, but just trying to manage all their loads and um, provide different opportunities at different times to players.
It was such a resilient performance, wasn't it, last week? Was that what pleased you most?
What was really good was that we probably didn't execute our plan in the first half good enough, but we'd done a pretty good job to hang in there. And then in the second half, we come out and we started poorly. I think our first three sets was errors, and then our fourth set we scored on. So that gave us a bit of energy. But to have that fight at the end of the game and that belief and to come up with a couple of big plays at the end of the game was pleasing. And sometimes you get a bit lucky like that, sometimes you don't. But if you don't put yourself in the game, and like I said, I feel like every game this year we've been in a winning position. We haven't won them all, but like that was another one where we were behind the whole game pretty much until the 79th minute, and so that's just another. We're learning different ways that we can get the result and get the 2 points, while we're not anywhere near where I think we can get to or our best football. But at least in the second half, we executed our plan better, and it was just proved the point to them that, look, if we play our style of footy and do the things that we want to be accountable for, well, we give ourselves a better chance.
So how do you get to that full potential?
We just need time, mate, and experience. Guys don't get experience or combinations without actually. You can do as much training as you like, but you don't get it unless you're playing together. And our spine now is what had two 80-minute games together. Or Jake and Crofty have played twice together for 80 minutes and Lockie. So and we can do as much training as we like here, but it's a different pressure in the game. It's different fatigue levels, different opposition. So the only way we're going to get better is more time on the field.
What about Castleford then? What's your gauge on them at the moment?
They're real effort based, and like one thing that they are really good at is they give themselves a chance in every game because their completion rates are high. I think they're first for errors and completion, so they give themselves a real good chance. They start with a lot of energy and effort, and then when we played them here, they started really well and defended their try line well against us, and then they probably finished better than we did at the back end of the game. So we know that we're going to have a tough game on our hands, and also we've talked to the boys about feel like we've which is a good thing. Every team's coming with their, to play their best game against us now at the moment. So we're not getting any easy contests, and we don't want any easy contests. We want to. The only way we're going to get better is if everyone comes with their best game against us.
Do you feel Casa a more formidable challenge than they were in round 2 or 3 when you played them?
Yeah, well, I think everyone, what are we, 12 rounds in? Everyone should be better, and I think we're better than where we were back then, and they're definitely better than where they were back then.
Now I know you'll bat this back, but you'll go third if you win. How much of a boost would that be?
Oh, look, it's great for our fans and our supporters and our corporate sponsors and the club. It's really good, and it's good for the players. But at the moment, it's for us. It's about just those gradual improvements each week, and making sure that we can find different ways to win. And because every game's different, not every situation's the same, and it's about us being in control of the stuff that we can control. And I think we're getting pretty good at that. Like we're in control of our attitude, we're in control of how physical we want to be, we're in control of, our response that we have to some bad moments on the field or good moments. So all those choices we make, I feel like we're making the right choices most of the time. Doesn't mean we're executing everything to the plan, but we're making the right choices on the field.
Just lastly for me, since we last spoke, Tom Holroyd's new deal was announced. Just talk to us a bit about his development this year.
Yeah, he's worked really hard on, he's physical and he's very aggressive character, but I think he's worked really hard on his footy smarts and the other parts of the game. And he's got better. He just doesn't carry the ball forward hard for us now and gets a quick play the ball. He works hard at the end of training on his pass and providing a bit of shape, and he's worked hard on his starting points in attack, and he's worked hard on his control in defence, not just being 100 miles an hour. He's more educated around what he does, and so I just feel like his footy sense, he's got better and learned his role better, and he's grown each week with that.
Yeah, it was a great try on Friday. Thank you, Brad. I'll
Thank
pass you over
you.
to everyone else. Good
Thanks,
luck
James.
tomorrow.
Hi, Brad.
Pete, there you go.
Yeah, good. You?
Looking around there.
There was one change to the 21. Clark Wood coming back in for Alfie. How is Clark Wood? Because he's been out for a long time. And what's the situation with Alfie? I understand he's got a shoulder injury.
Yeah, Alfie had that shoulder injury from the Saints game. Probably another week away. Like we got next week, and then we have the week off, so he'll probably be back after that. He's training, but he hasn't been able to do any, full contact. And Ethan will play tomorrow in the reserves. And yeah, so he's been back for a couple of weeks now, full training. So there might be some opportunities for him, further down the track.
Will Matt Frawley play in the reserves as well this week?
Yep. Yep. They're all those guys that are fit and healthy. I think Ackers and Alfie, the only two, that have been regulars that won't play in the reserves this week.
How's Tom Nicholson? Watton?
Oh, sorry, here's the other one. Yeah, so he's got he had a stress fracture reaction in his foot, so just waiting to see a bit more news around that. But he's going to be out for an extended period. It's unfortunate because he's one of those guys. He's a good club person, Tom. He trains hard, does all the right things, waits for his opportunity, and he's had limited opportunity this year. And so it's a shame for him because he's one of those guys at training that helps really, works really hard to help the main team prepare each week.
Is it difficult keeping everybody on the toes when you've got players who aren't being selected now? The reserves only play once a fortnight. Would you consider loans or anything like that?
Not at the minute. We don't need to. So we've got a reserves game this week, so they'll get some football, and our reserves have done a really good job for us with our preparation going into each week with our training. They're preparing us at a high level and really testing us at training, so that's good, and we're getting a bit of fault correction at training, which hopefully can iron out a few issues before we get to game day. So those guys, and like all the success you get on the field, it's not just those 17 guys that perform each week. It's all the staff do a great job here, mate, and the guys that aren't playing each week are big contributors as well.
Just one last thing from me. Goal kicking, is that a concern? I think.
Yeah, we need to be better. Both Lockie and Jake, they're practicing a lot. You don't get to replicate it. You know, you can get close to it, but the exact replication of game day is different. So we're trying to get as close as we can to that from with their practice. But you know, I think Jake is going to have a crack this week. So between the two of them, they're doing a lot of practice, and you know, we're working it out.
Thanks, Brad. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, Pete.
Hey, Brad. How are you
Hey,
doing?
James.
Yeah. Yeah, it's your first visit, I believe, to the jungle
Yeah.
on the road. What have you been told to expect?
Obviously, been talked about the shortened field. So obviously there'll be a fair bit of football played at in good ball for both teams. So last tackle options for both teams, both with and without the ball, are going to be pretty important.
Have you got a feel for the rivalry from? I know I think you've had one derby so far, haven't you, at Headingley?
Yeah, and the boys have made me aware of like the atmosphere there and what to expect. But I think every game now, whether they're rivalries or not, like all teams are coming, you can see that how close the competition is. You can't afford to make poor choices around attitude or how you turn up to any game because you know you're going to make it tough on yourself. So that's a big focus for us, regardless of who we play. It's around how we choose to turn up each week.
As you touched on there, every game's a character test. But are you looking forward to seeing how your team respond in this kind of environment?
Yeah,
The crowd are baying for blood because they love nothing more than to beat Leeds down there.
Yeah, no, I am looking forward to it, because I liked during the game. I probably didn't like it as much, the fact that we had to come from behind last week. But in hindsight, after the game, you look at it and that was a good lesson for us. So we're getting some good lessons along the way, as long as it doesn't cost you the 2 points. But this is another challenge, and that all helps you for when you need to be hardened for the back end of the season. So all these games along the way, they're small victories you need to chase to help you, at the end of the season.
No, good stuff. Thanks, Brad. All the best for tomorrow. Cheers.
Thanks, James. Thank you.